what would you like to start with in this division? What jumped out at you, Joe?
We should probably start with the very top, start with the highest win totals and work our way through. And Jake, if there's anything that you want to add on any of these teams, feel free to jump on. But yeah, so the Yankees win total is 95.5. No surprise after 99 wins last year. They're the favorite to win the division. But I see plus 125. Now, some of the projection systems, some of them dead on with that win total, and I see some that are a bit short. The power in this lineup, the story. It wasn't only Judge, obviously the best hitter. There's a reason he ran away with the MVP, but the depth to this lineup that they have, Carpenter in limited time, he was very good. Whether you're talking about LeMahieu or Rizzo with that short porch and right, people always expecting him to have a big year, and he could. Stanton as well. Like, don't forget about him. I don't have any questions about the offense, about the power. Now, Judge, will he put together another full season? Odds are that he probably won't because of his injury history, but we'll see about that. Garrett Cole, he's Garrett Cole. He's going to be in the mix for the Cy Young as long as he's out there every fifth day. After that, that's where I have my questions. Cortez came onto the scene last year. There was a time where he was getting some steam as a possible Cy Young Award winner. But outside of that, what do you have? After leaving the White Sox, Rodon finally stayed healthy. There's no question about his talent. And they decided to give him 6 years, $162 million, and he's already hurt. He's already dealing with the forearm strain. So, I mean, that's always what it's been with Rodon. Hey, if you can tell me he's going to give us 30 starts, I'll give him whatever he wants. He's awesome. But is he gonna give you that? That's the big question. And right now, it's looking like he's their number 2 starter. So I have a lot of questions about the depth to this rotation. 95.5. I don't really have a strong play because that offense can carry them to so many wins, and that's exactly what we're going to see. Even if they do have problems with the rotation and we get softball scores, they'll still end up being all right. I have stronger opinions elsewhere in the division. How about you? Did you have anything as far as the Yankees?
No, nothing on the Yankees. Shall we move on?
Okay.
You could have my family at gunpoint, and I would not take the over on this win total. I want nothing to do with the Yankees. You could put bamboo shoots under my fingernails. I'm not taking this over. Are we really, Josh Donaldson? You're going to do that again? Seriously, you have 3 left fielders in your outfield right now. Montes is going to miss the year. Rodon might miss the year. Half their bullpen's on the IL. This team might stink. They might just stink. Like, you're going to tell me that Judge is going to hit 60 home runs again? Really? Seriously? You're going to tell me Stanton's not going to miss 3 months again? Really? At 32?
Well, Jay, the perception is that the AL East is still so great, and, part of it is the New York thing, and the Yankees are great, and they have the highest win total, all that stuff. We'll go through team by team. As we go through it, and it's not the next team we're going to talk about, I think there are a lot of teams that could just stink in this division.
I mean, that you could say that about any team. No, I think you could say that about any team anywhere. But yeah, there's definitely the Yankees. If Judge gets hurt, they're done. Like they're sunk. And also Garrett Cole, he's going to dominate, but he's also the biggest Jekyll and Hyde project in all of baseball. He'll get 3 awesome starts where he goes, 24 straight innings scoreless, and then he'll give up 4 home runs over his next 12 innings. Like, the Yankees are going to be so up and down. I'll take the under on this win total all day. 95.5, 94.5. Like, they'll probably still win 90, but I don't think they're going to be up there with, the Astros or, even the Guardians. Like, I think the Guardians are a better team than them this year. Like, I want no part of the Yankees for anything. At plus 115, no thanks. Absolutely not.
I'm with you. I agree. No chance. All right, Aaron, the next highest win total, Toronto, 92.5. You doing the Jays thing again?
Man, it's so tough. I was all in. There was an exciting buzz about Toronto last year and such a disappointing season. I mean, they were supposed to have one of the best lineups, and they were like nowhere to be found. It was definitely disappointing. They fell short in the division, finished 7 games behind the Yankees. They did make the playoffs, lost their first 2 games to the Mariners in the wild card round, another team I love. So they've got Vladdy, Springer, Bo Bichette. I think they could be a problem in the division, but kind of like what Jake said, like, will they? I can't put my money on it just because of what happened last season. And maybe it's kind of like Gonzaga for me. Like, I want to bet the Blue Jays every year, but like, will they do it? I don't know. And the one year I don't bet on them, they probably will. Fangraphs and Pacoda each project about 89 wins for Toronto.
Right.
That's they have a 73.5% chance of making the postseason and a 5.9% chance of winning the World Series. I don't have a play yet on the Blue Jays. Jake, I think you were higher on them this season, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to play the win total because I think they'll be right around that number. Like, I don't have a strong enough feeling to play that total. But I think this Blue Jays team is way better than they were last year. I think they got better across. Like, I think adding Chris
They're way better than the Yankees. They are way better than the Yankees.
And it's just depth. Like, maybe not in star power, and maybe Vladdy takes that leap this year to rival Judge, but just depth-wise. Like, the Blue Jays have 6, 7, 8 starters. Like, if somebody goes down, they're already starting the year with Hyunjin Ryu on the IL. Not going to miss a beat because they signed Chris Bassett, who is a very underrated pitcher in this league. They shored up their bullpen. This trade with Seattle that brought them Eric Swanson to be their 8th inning guy is an awesome move. Like, they have just depth everywhere. Kayvon Biggio and Santiago Espinal are great depth pieces that you can deploy anywhere, especially if somebody like Whit Merrifield goes down. The trade for Dalton Varsho, though, was A plus. Like, he is an elite defensive center fielder to now go with George Springer and Kevin Kiermaier. Not a single ball is going to drop in that outfield. Like, there's not going to be a fly ball that stays inside the park that's going to drop. Those are all elite defensive outfilders, which is going to be great for those pitchers. And Varsho had his breakout last year, too. He had 27 home runs, was really good. He's going to hit like 7th.
What do you make of...
It felt like a little bit of a disappointment because they had a slow start. Don't forget, they had an awesome finish. They ended up with 92 wins. The win total's 92.5, and they're better. They lost Teoscar Hernandez, and then they add all these lefty bats. You're right. The Varsho addition, impressive. How many times have we bet on Brandon Belt going against a righty to hit a home run? And did you see what happened with the outfield walls over there? They brought them in, especially in center and in right center for the lefty bats.
And that was already a hitter-friendly park,
they added.
Too.
Yes. I mean, that's going to help that offense. And that rotation. You mentioned Bassett, and Bassett's a 3. And we like Berrios when he was in Minnesota. He's the 4. That was always the problem with Toronto. Yeah, they can hit, but you know what? They're all right-handed. Well, now they bring in a bunch of lefties. The walls are coming in. And now you've got all this depth on the rotation. Jake, what's the weakness? What is it? What am I missing?
The only weakness would be Vladdy gets hurt and Bichette continues to just kind of underwhelm. But even without that, without a true superstar, maybe Springer takes a step back. This lineup top to bottom is still so good that they can get to 90. Yeah, Chapman's going to hit 30 home runs, and he's the best defensive third baseman arguably in the league, definitely in the AL. You know, maybe only Arenado's better than him.
I love Toronto.
I think also... Yeah, like Vladdy, the 2021 season was so good. Can he do something like that again, or is that unrealistic? What do you make of that? You know, because it seemed like he took a step back. Can he stay healthy? I think that's definitely a question to ask too.
Yeah, I mean, he already had to withdraw from the WBC because of a knee, like, precautionary thing with his knee, but he should be good to go opening day. It should be fine. Like, last year was disappointing for him because he finished second in MVP voting in 2020 behind Ohtani, obviously. Like, what are you going to do? But last year was kind of disappointing. He dealt with injuries. He said he's healthier. He said he trimmed down a little bit this year. I mean, I think this is going to be his leap year for sure.
But you also don't need him to do what he did a couple years ago.
No,
he's strong everywhere. When you go, you mentioned how great the outfield defense is, and you're right, and you add the lefty bats, and the infield is Vladdy, Whit Merrifield, Bichette, and Chapman. Like, it doesn't get better than that. It's phenomenal. So, it felt like last year the Jays got more steam. Am I just missing it?
I think
Exactly.
last year I think people, they were the hot team last year. They were the team that was popular, and they were like, oh, look at these young stars, and they were the team that was promoted a lot. And now they kind of disappointed, so people are backing off now, I think.
I don't understand the metrics.
Which
not
is
like
where you could find some value this season compared to last.
I don't know why the projection systems don't like them. I'm lost on that one.
91.5 that's the win total, right?
I saw 92.5, but maybe there's a 91.5 out there.
Yeah, I see one.
Yeah. Okay. This team makes a lot of people sound stupid. Tampa Bay, 89.5. 4 straight playoffs. I'm looking at that lineup, and I'm like, this is not as good as I'm used to with them. I mean, they're the best at developing pitching, and we know that your guy's not going to be ready, right? Glasnow's not going to be ready, and what they have McClanahan.
Right.
The pitching never a problem, and sometimes they have those spot starters. We get that. I just feel like the position players, and maybe I should be concerned because, the base running, they do everything right. Such a smart organization, but I don't know that this is Tampa Bay's best team that we've seen. They had a lot of road struggles last year. They were like 11 games below 500 on the road. They still made the playoffs, though.
Yeah, it's just they're so fundamentally sound. Like, they just do everything so clean, and they have their rotation, even without Glasnow. Like, McClanahan, Rasmussen, Springs, like, those top 3 are still really good. Whenever Glasnow gets back, that'll be really good for them. And a lot of their lineup is going to depend on how well Brandon Lau hits. He was hurt all last year, and he's a guy that can hit 40 home runs and has been in MVP conversations before. So a lot is on that. I bet something last night. I tweeted, I was a prisoner of the moment. Randy Arozarena, I put in a bet 150-1 for MVP. Like, this guy just, and this is a guy a couple of years ago who was 40-1, who was 35-1, and now he's 150 because he underwhelmed a lot last year and was hurt a lot last year. He could legitimately be a 30-30 guy. And now with the bigger bases, too, he could approach, 30 homers, 40 steals, 50 steals. And he always shows up in the huge moments. He's really good defensively, too. It's just 150-1 felt like a wrong price to me. I did the same thing with Drew Rasmussen for the Cy Young at 200-1. It's just the Rays find ways to get the most out of these guys. Not saying that they're going to win, not saying it's a slam dunk for either of them, but it just feels mispriced, especially with the Rays. They always pop, and they always just are there and in the playoffs and in this race. And if the Rays are going to be good, it's going to be because of those two guys. And Randy is having an awesome WBC. Obviously, we saw the catch last night. He's been hitting. He had a big double last night as well. He had a huge homer in the series before in pool play. And we have precedent, too. Guys who play in the WBC in past years, the last 2, they win MVPs or they finish runner-up. The last 2, we saw it. Jose Altuve won it in 2017, played in the WBC. Stanton played in 2017, won the MVP. Miguel Cabrera won in 2013, played in the WBC. There's just precedent for that. That's why I also bet Trey Turner at 12-1. Randy's obviously a long shot price, but the Rays are always going to be there. Same thing with the win total again. I don't want to play it because I think they'll be around that 89-90, but I think they're still going to be a good team. I'll probably bet them game to game still just because of that pitching staff.
I'm not betting under because they're the Rays. Boston, Look at that rotation. Oh my goodness.
So gross.
That could be awful. Everybody's over 30. Everybody has an injury history. Sale, Kluber, Paxton. I'm like, that could be an
Paxton
outright
and Kluber
disaster.
already hurt too.
They lost Bogarts. They gave Devers the bag, so they might be terrible. 77.5
Orioles?
is the win total there.
I love that.
What do you think, Jake?
76.5.
Oh, I
they
took a long shot on the
over.
Orioles to win the division at 25-1, and I already have the over.
Okay.
I love it. They got off to a terrible start and finished with 83 wins, and now you got the 2 young stars who were called up last year, Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman. I think they're going to be better. I like the over there as well.